a bunch of other things. But man, what led you to the emoji snake? What led you to JKR, man? Like, what led you to the beautiful family you have? Like, what kind of give me like a little insight on like, was it always just ball pythons, like, since you like came out of the womb, or like what got you where you're at, basically?
No, I loved reptiles since I was a kid, like most of us. You know, it seems like almost a genetic disorder for most of us.
No.
I always loved them. I didn't even know ball pythons really existed. They weren't on my radar until probably around 2000 or so.
Mm-hmm.
I was breeding colubrids in my dorm room at college, and I was just loved all the creepies, you know. The ball pythons, you know, who got me into ball pythons was Ralph Davis. You know, I think he's responsible for a lot of people into ball pythons because of his journal and the fact that he was seemingly very successful doing it. I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm sure he was. And he was just a really awesome guy doing amazing things, and there's so much to look up to there. And that, I think, informed a lot of when I got in. I thought, man, if I could ever make it to the point where I was making cool stuff like he does, I hope that I can maybe share in that enough to make more people want to do it too. Because a lot of people, I think, they don't necessarily. I'm not saying, you know, not necessarily on purpose, but a lot of people don't necessarily share the cool stuff they make, and they don't necessarily give back in that way. And so I just got into ball pythons. I loved them. I'm a kind of a introvert, and anybody who knows me well knows that I love talking to one person at a time. I'm not a social guy, really, and so I really was not that connected to the community for a long time. I just really got into it, and I did my thing for years. I just kind of did my thing, and I wasn't that interested in, you know, when I got in, it was all about finding the next morph and reproducing it, making more of them. That was where all the money was, really, whether it be the GHI or the banana or cinnamon or fire, all the yellow belt, all those were kind of going through the list when I was just getting started. And that was a really legitimate business plan, but that did not really interest me as much at the time. At the time, I really wanted to see what these genes were like stacked together. And that was kind of uncharted territory in the sense that people didn't really know if that would become economically viable in the same way that new morphs would. Because you can't really, when you're talking about combos, you can't really control the market in a sense on combos, because anybody can make them if the genes are relatively common. With the new genes, everybody had to, if you bought that gene and you were one of the first ones in, you can kind of control how it goes out. You can command a certain price point, and it was really uncharted territory. But that's just all I was interested in, and in the end, the industry went, and so I had a little bit of a jump on it because I got in. I started doing that before it was cool.
So, what year was this again? Can you give me like an idea what year this was?
Yeah, 2003 was when I bred my first ball pythons, and back then I was. I think I can see this here. I was Smoky Mountain back then.
Smoky Mountain Reptile.
Yeah, for about 6 months to a year.
That's before JKR?
Right. Yeah, then I got a cease and desist from some pet store in Gatlinburg saying that I wasn't allowed to be Smoky Mountain Reptiles. And that's how Kobylka Reptiles was born.
Listen, we're going to talk about putting that back on a shirt or something, okay? Me and you. We're going to come out with a prep.
There you go.
We're going to come out with a classic. We're going to come out with a classic.
I got to make sure that they're not going to sue me for it first. Yeah.
Wait. So there's already a Smoky Mountain now?
Yeah, apparently there was. That's why I had to stop, because they sent me an email and said, hey, you know, you're not allowed to use that name. And so I was like, I was so jaded at the time. I was so frustrated. Right. I was so frustrated that I was like, man, I don't even know what other names are out there, what people are using, you know, so I'm just going to, I know nobody is using the name Kobylka in their ball python business. So I went with that. Rest is history.
If you're not about your business, no one else is going to do it for you. So that's why sacrifices
That's right.
Sacrifices will always have to be made. And because of the sacrifices Justin made, he's JKR. Like, that's basically, at the end of the day, you made player moves, and shooters take their shots, bro. And you've been taking your shots for a while now, which I commend you for. Everyone's you got so many people that look up to you out there. It's ridiculous. And that's basically just because you're passionate in what you're doing. You're constantly coming out with shit that people are just. And what's crazy, Justin, I'm going to say right now, all the things that you see on this man's Instagram does not serve it justice until you see it in person. You need to go to a show. You need to go find out where Justin's set up at. And this guy is so nice. Okay, he will give you the time of day. Can we just talk about the first time we met at Pomona? What I did? Do you recall what I did? How I wasted about 8 minutes of your time? Do you remember that?
I don't remember you specifically, so tell me about it.
Okay. So we met. You're like, hey, what's up, MJ? You're totally cool. And then you're on. We sat. I at your table. Then you're on your way to the bathroom, and I was like, hey, Justin, can we vlog real quick? I just want to ask you a few questions. And you're like, yeah, man, sure.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
We ended up talking for. It could have been like a good 10 minutes, and then when I'm finished, I hit the button and it wasn't recording the whole time. Do you remember that?
I do. I remember that. That's hard to forget. That's funny.
I was like, wait. It wasn't recording. And you're like, and I felt so. I was not going to have you redo I was just so embarrassed. I was like, oh my God. But you're like, we'll do it again. You're like, we'll do it again sometime. And oh my God, that was my first one-on-one with Justin, bro. So that's just, I will take that forever. Well, that was funny.
I remember my first snake shows, and some of my biggest idols in this industry didn't give me the time of day. And I've always remembered that. And I've always, thought that maybe the person I'm talking to was just like me, just wants to be heard for a second. And I try to give that to each person I can. Cause I've been on the other side of that many times for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad. And this hobby does make me feel like that. Like, I always talk about my career before. My hobby before this was DJing. Like, I'd go and play like these events, like festival type events, right? And the love you'd get from people just from playing music is awesome. Like it's like you just get all this love for playing music. So I kind of get that same feeling in this hobby. When you kind of build a following for so long, and then you finally go to shows and people give you love, but it's like stuff you can relate to because you're like, well, hey, show me what you got going on, and it's such a reward feeling. Like this hobby is so great because it doesn't make talk. I mean, for me at least, it's not awkward talking to people because I'm already an outgoing person, but I'm always trying to learn. I want to know what people are into. I want to know what they're messing with, because this is something where everyone has some sort of thing they're cooking up, but there's always a missing ingredient. You never know when you're getting to that secret ingredient that you're looking for. But not only that, it's so cool to put so many Instagram accounts to faces in person and whatnot. And like I said, the love is amazing, man. Tinley got shut down. I flew all the way to Chicago. I got to stay with Ryan McVeigh for the first night, but man, the love that I got from them and the people I met that I didn't even know followed me, and I realized, hey man, these are really cool people in the hobby. It just makes any trip like that worth it. So I always try to encourage people all the time, man, get to a show, especially if somebody like Justin's there. I know Ozzy doesn't vent too much, but when Ozzy, you just anytime you get a chance to see these guys in person, you got to go. I'm telling you right now, it's worth it. Plan a trip. It's like you want to go to Disney World.
Such an amazing community.
Yeah, for sure. The community is amazing, and it's just because it brings everything together, and it's just so much fun. So that's one thing. That's one thing that just really stands out to me in this hobby, and thankful for it in so many ways.